Do you also wonder that what is going wrong in my organization, in my company, that in spite of giving every facility, everything what my company wants, my team wants, my colleagues want, results are not coming? I get this question quite often when I engage with entrepreneur friends of mine, with people who I coach. I get this question, and the answer is simple. It is in your organization's culture. In today's video, I'm not going to talk about what is the culture you need to set, but I'm going to tell you about what culture people like Jeff Bezos and others have set for making their company super successful. Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video on CSKSpeaks. I am CSK and I am an educator. Whenever I engage with friends and people who come to me with questions, the one thing which gets discussed at length is what is missing in spite of giving everything to the team, to their organization, and to keep everything ready, but they're not getting the desired results. And when I look a little deeper in that engagement, in that conversation with people, the one thing which is evident and which comes out so drastically is the lack of organization's culture. And we all understand that it is not about what we want, it is how we go about getting what we want that makes the difference. Individually, we understand that, but collectively, we do not. And that's where the lack or the absence of organization's culture plays an important role. Forget about theory, let's get into real examples, and I'm going to roll out a lot of examples where you understand as to what we are trying to discuss here. Let's take New York Giants. New York Giants, the head coach of New York Giants from 2004 to 2015, Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin was infamous rather for setting a standard when it comes to time. What he said and what he did was, if you are on time, you are late. Which means you got to be there 5 minutes before time. And when you are 5 minutes before time, you are actually on time. In fact, it became so popular that it started getting recognized as Coughlin time. That is being 5 minutes early. And if you are on time, you are late and you are subjected to penalty, fined. Now that's one example of setting the organization's culture. It's the practice. Now let's understand why we don't realize the importance of the culture. When we set up a company with that age-old traditional approach of having a vision, getting the mission, and then displaying the values. We do it perfectly well. We have consultants, we have got people, we do it creatively well, and we display it on walls at prominent locations, more importantly and mainly in our reception areas. So people come, people see those things, and then they have fun that, okay, this is a very, very organized and a structured company. That's all well, but the problem is, are those values translating into real workplace? In fact, another intelligent person very famously said, and I quote, "You cannot create something unique and compelling in the marketplace if you do not create unique and compelling things at your workplace." Let me repeat that. You cannot create anything unique or compelling at the marketplace if you fail to create something compelling and unique at your workplace. Yes, friends, charity begins at home. It begins at your workplace, and you got to create that. And how do you do that? Is translating values into practices, into behaviors. Let me give you another example, a drastic one though. We all know about the Enron fiasco. The values which Enron displayed so prominently at all their workplaces and reception areas, on the walls, in posters and in their brochures? Well, there are no points for guessing it. These are the values which Enron registered: integrity, respect, communication, and so on and so forth. But we all know what Enron did towards the end and why it went into bankruptcy. All the three values, the so-called integrity, respect, and communication, failed at multiple levels. Now, were the values wrong, or did they fail in translating the values into the culture of the organization? Now you got the answer. Now let's take a better example. Let's come to the main one which we want to discuss today: Jeff Bezos and Amazon's example. Jeff Bezos, even when Amazon went on to become a multi-million-dollar company, still had this practice, and that was buy cheap doors from Home Depot and screw legs into them and make them working tables. Yes, a company like Amazon used to go shopping at Home Depot for cheap doors and then translate them or convert them by fixing legs and making them workstations, working tables. And when somebody asked Jeff Bezos, why do you do this? We have enough money to afford plush office spaces and fantastic fancy interiors, he replied without winking an eyelid. He said, well, that's a constant reminder that we got to save cost and still deliver absolute quality to my customers. Now that's a great example of organization's culture. Translating your values on the wall to actionable behavior on the ground. Now let's take a stop here and ask ourselves, what is my organization's culture? What is happening? Yes, you have a vision, you have a mission, you have some values, but what is the organization's culture? Let me give you my example so that you can start pulling out your examples as you watch this video. Now, we talk about trust, transparency, and truth. Yeah, that's my personal values: trust, transparency, and truth. So what I do is every single time I get a call, I make sure that I return the call, even though it's an unknown number, within the first 24 hours. Yes. What happens? I am able to build trust because people on the other side will know that, okay, if the call goes unanswered, we will definitely get a call back from CSK. That's a simple example. But in my organization, how do I translate that from my personal level to the organization level? I walk into my classrooms, I walk into my meetings, and I write my mobile number in front of people on the whiteboard or on the green board straight up. Why do I do that? Because they get the confidence that in case of anything, they can reach out to me and I am available, I am accessible. Now this is translating the values of trust, truth, and transparency to reality in practice. Now you don't have to go and share around your mobile number. I'm not professing you for that. I'm just giving you as an example. Let me give you another example. In my team, we have a rule that every call, every email has to be returned within the first 48 hours, in 2 working days. But within the first 24 hours, you got to acknowledge that email saying that yes, we have taken a look at it and we shall get back to you. Now that's creating organization's culture. So many practices you can have, simple practices, which can go a long way in building the organization's culture. Now, why do we need this culture? We will come to that in a while. But before we go there, we need to understand that you also have created a lot of these cultures. But the problem is, if it is not giving you results, it's because it's not practiced. In fact, Harvard Business Review nicely puts it, any experiment can justify or qualify to become a culture if only you add discipline to it. So simple but so productive, isn't it? Anything you do, any practice, if you add discipline and make it a ritual, make it a standard practice day in and day out, it qualifies to become a culture, the culture of the organization. So we can look at our own organizations and see what is working and how can we make it all pervasive. In simple words, if you want to look at culture from the top down level, you have vision, you have mission, you have values, shared values. Every single employee, every single team member living those values makes it the culture of the organization. What Jeff Bezos did of buying those cheap quality doors from Home Depot and fixing legs and using them as workstations, everybody started working on those workstations. It's a reminder. It's a constant reminder that we are saving cost to give absolute quality service, customer service and satisfaction to my customers. So what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for in taking a look at our organization's culture? Take a good deep look and see how we can do it. Why am I bringing this for your discussion here? Is because when I meet people in my coaching, they often complain about, everything is going well. We have got the best of the best facilities. We have got the best of the best vision and the mission documents. We know the processes, but somehow people are not owning it up. A sense of belongingness is not there. And that's where the question of your organization's culture comes into picture. What are you doing to build that fabric or to weave that fabric of the organization's culture? That's important. That is important. And that's the need to get your results. And what culture does, as I said, what is the benefit of culture is you really don't have to work hard at monitoring anyone, because that's the natural and normal way people are tuned and wired to perform, because culture takes care of everything. So friends, the next time you come across a situation where you don't get the desired results, don't just fret over it. Look deep inside and see where we are going wrong with our organization's culture. And once you get hold of that and start tweaking it there, the rest will go on autopilot. It will give you your desired results because you are fixing this entire thing from the grassroots. Thank you very much for watching CSK Speaks.